Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And tonight, we're going to be talking about the stock market fraud run wild. All of you who think regulations matter, well, when it comes to the rich and famous, do regulations really matter? We got that to talk about, plus your financial planning for 2025 and beyond. It's very simple. You're going to have to buy assets and the right assets that pay you, ladies and gentlemen, as you guys know the mantra here. And welcome. Stop struggling now, gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here, and make sure you share the videos because the YouTube gods know that we need other people here in the house and get their eyes upon this because a lot of people are walking through life as sheep. So let's get into it, shall we? I want to show somebody, I want to show you, the general public. Take a look at this I'm about to bring. I'm just going to skip everything. Make sure you check something out because a lot of people, I have told a story over the last 5 years, is when you start taking money away from certain individuals, corporations that are involved with the government, they figure out another way to screw you. Here it is right here. Thanks to Brian P., by the way, who sends me articles and updates throughout the day from all different sources. This man is an investor. He's a guy that goes out here and searches for information to give him an advantage when he invests. Look at this right here. This looks innocent enough with the headlines, doesn't it? The insurance crisis isn't just coming from your home. It's coming for Xcel Energy. What could possibly happen? There's always levers that occur. Remember the insurance that people are going through, such as some people cannot get insured. Some people can't get insured because there's a drone footage above their house or satellite footage above their house that makes it look like they have roof damage. And come to find out, the insurance company cancels them. And then the insurance company finds out later that what was on the roof was solar panels. But they're going around canceling people. So that means everybody that they insure, guess what happens? You have less people that are insured. Now the group is smaller and the group has to pay for everything, which is a lot more. So now the group who does get insurance, their insurance prices rise. How simple is that? Well, it just does not come along just for the residential neighborhood. It doesn't come along for the apartment complexes. No, 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 ladies and gentlemen. I find this hilarious because people are out here not understanding there's an ecosystem and you're about to get screwed again because you keep voting for the corporate interest. You keep wanting to vote for these tax cut, tax break, tariffs, and all this, but you're not understanding who's benefiting. And here we go again. So they thought it's a good idea to do cancellations. Well, guess what happens? Here's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. After years of costly wildfires, the insurance affordability crisis is not just saddling Colorado homeowners with massive premium increases. So here you go. They got you for your home. Your insurance prices rise 2, 3, sometimes 4 times the amount it was the previous year. And you go, oh my God, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Who can I blame? Then you sit here and go, oh, but wait, What do you think is happening when insurers are now dramatically ratcheting up premiums for Xcel Energy, the state's largest utility? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are smart. Who do you think, after they raise up the energy firm's insurance 3 times, 4 times, what do you think the insurance company's going to do? Or shall I say, the energy company going to do? Well, congratulations, Coloradans. Your insurance, or shall I say, your energy bill is about to rise. Oh, yeah, it won't be no damn $1. It won't be 10. It won't be 20. Your bills every month, they're going to have to charge you more to pay for their millions of dollars of insurance annually. You will be paying for it. And don't think this is just going to happen in Colorado. This is happening all over the United States because people are blindly giving away their rights and everything just so the corporate guys can raid every aspect of your life. And then you're going to turn around and blame somebody. You are giving them the keys to allow them to do it. Now, are you guys hearing me yet? 2.5 to 3 years, upper middle class is wiped out. So if you are comfortably living right now at 125K, 150K, your household income, or a little higher, congratulations, because in 3 years, that won't be good enough. And for all those who are sitting down here in the 30 percentile range, that won't be good enough, will it? So what are you guys going to do? I'm asking for a friend. Are you guys going to continuously keep thinking that somehow this corporate guys are going to have a trickle down theory to you somehow? Do you think our government officials who want to take away your entitlements, Social Security, pension funds, you think it's okay for them to wipe away Medicare entitlements, stuff that takes care of the ordinary citizens? And when that happens, you ain't going to be covered by insurance. You ain't going to be covered by nothing. And if you have pre-existing conditions, sayonara if they take away the Affordable Care Act. So you guys better be careful out here, because some of you, oh, wait, not some, 70% of you are going to find yourself in a bad, bad situation. And already there are people who can't even have insurance coverage. So if something happens, fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, and your house gets thrashed, congratulations. Nobody's coming to save you. All right? So you better be very careful out here. You're not hearing me. You haven't been hearing me all these years. That's all I can tell you for now. All right, everybody. You guys know I dropped that SMCI video yesterday because a lot of people may be watching this tonight and not realize that this is serious. SMCI, even though there are regulations in place, after they have their stock price went up to $1,700, after people made millions of dollars, they find out fraud with their accounting. Funny how when there's regulations, there's still fraud. And it's funny how it's these big companies that get away with it. Ernst & Young exited today. They said, oh, we're no longer going to be representing them. We find out now that their accounting was suspect. So I have to ask you guys something. Are you guys not upset yet? Are you guys still not upset? Because you don't understand that this company and thousands more are backed by so-called good ratings. And soon as accounting errors come into effect, Ernst & Young, Price Waterhouse Cooper, the guys who say that their accounting is legitimate so you can buy their shares of stock, you can feel comfortable being an investor, all of a sudden, I'm like, well, wait a minute. I thought you guys were supposedly actually going through their accounting. That's what you signed off on. Now I find out they can just tell you anything they want. You don't have to see the books, the bank accounts. You don't have to look at none of that. Now you guys are understanding how some people are getting ahead easier than you think. And they're laughing at you all the way to the bank. And nobody at SMCI will be going to jail either. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. None of the accounting department, none of the chief financial officer who resigned, he's not going to be going to jail, knowing that they cook the books. I wonder who's going to be paying for this. Very interesting question. Let me see who's in the house tonight, because tonight is the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream where it's members only that can be in the chat room. Everybody can watch, but not everybody can be in the chat room on Wednesday nights. So once again, thank you so much for being here, everybody. And make sure, again, you share the videos. If that's not enough for you, you want to move along for something else, because you have to be prepared, ladies and gentlemen. I want to ask you something. If you see this headline here, let me make sure this isn't playing. Yeah, it's okay. Piling into a financial juggernaut that soared 33% since its IPO. Well, his IPO wasn't in the last 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. This goes way, way back. It makes sense. All right. Growth stocks, insurance companies, Coca-Cola, as he famously shows where he's drinking the picture. He buys companies that are big time. All right. All of them, because he knows companies that generally get bailed out. So he buys a large percentage. It rises 100, 200, 300 or more percent. And then eventually he bails out. But he holds long-term use. One, right, like let's say today, and then sells it a month from now, or 3 months or 6 months from now. No, he holds on to it, sees the action, because it takes years when you're doing investment. And keep in mind, Warren Buffett is in his 90s now. He's been doing this for the last 70 years. All right. So the man is he's been doing this a while. He's seen how the markets work. He grew with the markets and rules and regulations of the markets. And he was smart enough to do the Berkshire Hathaway Group. I don't even know now, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And he had excellent help with him, which is another lesson in business. If you can't get in the chat room tonight, there's a reason why. It's because members, everybody else, you can watch. All right. Just letting you know. Now, let's get down to the business at hand as well. Because once again, SMCI stock fraud is just the tip of the iceberg. You don't think other companies aren't doing the same thing? And by the way, there is something else I forgot about. If you purchased SMCI stock, I'm going to put this link in the chat room so everybody can see it. But you need, not saying you're going to get into BFA laws, and it's in the chat room. Some other places on social media will get the link as well. But make sure you go over there and sign up if you signed up with SMCI. All right. Got to be very clear on that. So once again, it's very, very interesting how people get away with certain things. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. Federal rate cut draws applause and caution from bankers. Why does it draw caution from bankers is what I don't understand, right? It's very, very interesting, but I want you to know this. The Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas and the 3.3 trillion asset Bank of America have highlighted the importance of the cadence and intensity of any planned rate cuts, slow and steady being the best approach. Okay. All I know is after you have held the interest rate without increasing it for over a year, just so you can do a year later and say, oh, the inflation rate. It just went down to 2.5. That's only because you delayed for almost a year. So therefore, nothing was going to happen. Prices were always price gouged already. Oil and every industry has all-time record high profits. People are living paycheck to paycheck. So you had no choice because people aren't going to be out here buying like they used to. So now that it's down to 2.5, these yahoos are talking about 0.5 was too much. Slow and steady. What are they talking about? You did a 3.5 year rate increase for the last 3.5 years. What are you talking about, slow and steady? So we're supposed to go down 3.5 years? Is that what you mean? See, this is what I'm saying. Who does it benefit for the interest rates to go down? Well, all of you who have credit cards, is the interest rate plus some other number to give you your annual interest that you owe. The banks want to give you loans based on the Federal Reserve rate, right? Wouldn't that benefit us, ordinary citizens? I think so. So again, I'm not understanding what slow and steady means, because everybody knows anything about economy. If the interest rates are low, people get loans and they buy. Without that factor, then people who can afford it can be the only ones that can buy, or who make enough money where they can pay cash. All right, look at the last one. They're not alone. Fed Gov Michelle Bowman was the lone dissenting vote in the agency's decision for the 0.5% cut last month, saying in a statement that moving at a measured pace toward a more neutral policy stance would be a more effective path to curbing inflation without unnecessarily stoking demand. Okay, I find this very fascinating, because banks could benefit from a higher interest rate, or they can benefit anyhow from a lower interest rate. Either way, they win. But I find it very interesting that these guys, the guys who make millions of dollars annually, are sitting here saying, well, we don't need to cut it. Like I said, cutting the Federal Reserve interest rates helps ordinary citizens. Clearly, they've already stalled the economy. That's what the interest rate increase is for. So therefore, there is nothing you can do at this point. That these guys are not going to borrow at 7 or 8%, 6%, even if it is interest only. They won't borrow. They don't have to. They have shares of stock they can borrow against and get lower rates. They can do a bunch of things, do bonds and offer somebody 1 or 2% and arbitrage it if they wanted to. I mean, this is crazy. Notice I said they can do bonds at 2% to the general public. Meanwhile, they can get 4.5%, 5% interest earned. They can arbitrage what they owe and get loan money. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. So why would the bankers say this? Because we can arbitrage and make money off of your money. Again, there's something always in it for the rich guy. Just keep that in mind. That's why they're sounding ridiculous like this. And again, here's the man of the hour. This is Brian P., the man that sent me some of these articles. He's always studying. He's out here making things happen himself. This is Mr. Dividend, who's in the house tonight. So I want to thank him so much for being here. And he brings his tagline, and welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream with that icon next to your name, which I humbly appreciate. And he says, hello, Eric. Hello to you. I hope all is well with you. Yes, it is. Thank you so much. I'm another day above ground breathing. People that love me. It's all good. Hello, SSN family. Smash that like button, and I got the notification. All right. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Thank you for showing the news article articles. No problem, man. Like I said, who has time to constantly do videos, like in my case, do videos, post some things up, and go look at news, updates, and information? I appreciate you sending me all these different articles from your own research. And there's a lot of people who don't even do this. And that's what they should be doing. Financial planning for 2025, you should be thinking about right now. If you think the economy is going to be worse, or if you think the economy is going to be better, are you willing to put your money towards that? Are you going to be a person that's going to say, okay, I give, uncle, I'm going to put my money in like the Vanguard group, VOO. So then that way I have the S&P 500 or total market index. What am I going to do? VTI, Vanguard Technology. Are we going to go with technology still? There's a bunch of things. VOOG, for instance. Those are ETFs where I can just set it and forget it and let some, guy that's getting paid millions of dollars manage the fund. And let them deal with what happens when the Federal Reserve reduces interest rates, what happens when SMCI is caught doing fraud. But oh no, they're not the only ones. There's a litany of SEC cases. And oh, by the way, speaking of voting, do you understand the SEC, the Consumer Protection Agency, those regulatory bodies that protect or are supposed to protect the regular OCs, us ordinary citizens, there is voting involved where, do you wonder why all the rich guys are going to back one person, the billion? In fact, I'm going to be making videos, the billionaire versus us. Why would billionaires back one guy? Because if I loosen regulations, I get rid of Department of Education, I get rid of EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, I make sure that the automobile industry does not have to have 3 lights in the back and they don't have to have blinkers on the side. Maybe we'll just remove any regulations for automobiles. This is why, because now they will take away the SEC, consumer protections, and everything else. So these guys can run roughshod over you, which means oligarchy is here. It's on the doorstep. And you guys are thinking, oh, I'm voting for this, I'm voting for that. I'm like, you better be watching yourselves. Again, do you have a parachute? You got property outside the United States? Do you have a dual citizenship with another country so you can leave and your passport can't be denied upon leaving? Oh, yeah. You don't know where you live, do you, ladies and gentlemen? You think just because it's never happened before. Oh, wait, it has happened before. How many people know that if you have a problem with child support, if you have a problem with the IRS, if you have a problem in a court situation, do you know your passport could possibly be no good? You do know this, right? So your passport could be turned off anytime the government wishes. So don't act ridiculous out here. A lot of people are acting ridiculous. They're thinking la-di-da. I'm telling you, if you start thinking about who owns X, Washington Post, I'm just saying, Fox, these are all billionaires. They are putting out what they want you to hear. Billionaires against us. There's 2,700 billionaires on the planet. Do you think you should be following their behinds, or they don't have your best interest? If they did, here's what best interest looks like. Just so everybody knows, $1 billion is 1,000 stacks of $1 million. 1,000 stacks of $1 million. Okay? That's a billion. Never mind if you have 10 billion or 20 billion, but that's just 1 billion. So you have to ask yourself, when we have these tornadoes, these hurricanes, these floods, these earthquakes, anything related to weather, how many of these billionaires roll in, say, hey, man, Thank you for them tax breaks. Thank you from that price gouging that we were able to do and have all-time record highs in profits for our company. Thank you for allowing us to buy back stocks so then we can trigger options so we get option stocks because the stock price went up to a certain value even though we gamed the system. Thank you very much. We'll come down and hand out $2 million for the effort to get things done. Here's $5 million to get stuff done. Oh, just here's the equivalent of it. You have $1,000, right? I don't think it would be much skin off your back if you gave $5 to somebody on the street or helping a cause, would it? That's the equivalent of a billionaire. 5,000 little stacks, or shall I say 5 stacks out of 1,000. 5 stacks. You could be in Florida helping people, North Carolina helping people, Oklahoma helping people. But no, these guys sit idly by. And there's 2,700 on the planet. All right, enough of my rant. Billionaires versus us videos will be coming out soon. Also, I haven't stopped yet. I have not stopped. Because look, it doesn't stop, ladies and gentlemen. No matter where you are, thank you for showing the news articles. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going and going and going and going. Look at this, a crooked gold IRA dealer. Regal Assets nailed hard by the feds again. This is October. This is all happening in the last 3 days, what I'm showing. This is insane. Where's the rule? Where's the regulations? How's this working for everybody? Oh my God, man. I just get pissed, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Precious metals investors need to be careful to avoid scams. Some have been around a long time in different forms. Others are newly proliferating now that gold is hitting records. Oh, last week, Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Oh, there goes another regulatory body, announced it has obtained a judgment in federal court against a predatory firm called Regal Assets. Corrupt. At one point, we took legal action against one of its affiliates for fraud and unfair trade practices after it published libelous negative online reviews about our company to promote Regal Assets. While the victims of the multi-million-dollar fraud at Regal Assets can now seek restitution, they may never be made whole. Best we can tell, the government never located the owner, Tyler Gallagher, who reportedly fled the country. Nor will the victims of countless other scams whose perpetrators may never be brought to justice. Your best protection against getting fleeced when buying precious metals is to ignore the slick pitches that sound too good to be true. All right. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Founded in 2010, Money Metals, in direct opposition to the high-pressure boiler room operations that sell investors on high-premium collectibles rather than providing access to fairly and transparently priced bullion. All right. So there we go again. Some more people out here scamming the general public. Is there no end in sight? Can it be? And I'm going to end it with this part of this live stream. Again, I want to thank everybody for being here. If you're watching this video, please make sure you smash the like button. So you got this. Okay. Love. No love. I will be back. Interesting. Very. Make sure I got things. I'm in a unique situation that many people do not know and understand. So I'm trying to put up something on the screen, but right now I can't. All right, we're back. All right, here we go. This right here, this should piss you off as well. Speaking of regulations, billionaires versus us. And here you are going to be sitting here like, what the hell is going on? That's all I say every day. People are out here sleeping, don't know anything about what's about to happen to them based on nothing that you see on mainstream. It's all behind and in newspapers. Oh, Los Angeles Times, Washington Post, a few other newspapers who actually back a presidential candidate. For some reason this year, the billionaires, once again, they don't want to say who they're going to back. I wonder why. I wonder why. I don't wonder really. I'm just asking you guys, why would not the Los Angeles Times or the Washington Post, who traditionally says who they are backing as president, why would they not do that? Are they afraid if they back a certain candidate that they might have retribution if that candidate loses? That is some crazy, petty, weak stuff. And all I want to say is just because a person has money and they're billionaires, that doesn't mean they have cojones. Can you imagine being one of the 2,700 billionaires on the planet? And because of whoever is president, you may be worried about if you back the wrong presidential candidate, that president may go after your company. Is that crazy or what? That just shows you how wrong this place is. Here we are talking about Los Angeles Times. They're one of these clown companies. Again, the billionaires like, oh, I'm scared. I'm scared to say who we want to back. Okay, well, check this out. State Farm. You guys know State Farm Insurance. But did you know State Farm Insurance is a subsidiary accused of funneling excess profits to the parent as it seeks rate hikes? Okay. Can somebody tell me? And if you can't get in the chat room, there's a reason why. Only members with the icon on Wednesday nights can be in the chat room. Everybody else can watch. So don't worry when I say, let me know and you can't get in. I know you can't get in, some of you. But that headline, does that tell you anything? State Farm accused of funneling excess profits to the parent as it seeks rate hike. Okay, so if people don't understand, generally in every state, the insurance companies, they have, if they want to do a rate hike, they have to submit it to a commission within the state, and it has to get approval. Most of the time, they get approval. If they want 30%, okay, maybe the state will say, well, we'll give you 25. Sometimes they say 30, but this is how they get a price increase, meaning your premium is going to go up. All right. So I'm just leaving that out there. What do you think is happening here? This is why I keep telling people there's derivatives upon derivatives. And for whatever reason, people don't realize this. We've talked about this several times over the years. Look at this. State Farm General saying that they are moving profits up to the other company, so it makes it look like the parent company's making more money. And of course, you know what that means. Stock is implicated. Investors are implicated. as well because they think the company's sane. But here's the kick: 30% increase in rate hike while claiming it's in financial distress and in need of a 30% rate hike. Can you believe the balls on these guys? If this is true, and I say if because I already know it's true, but I cannot believe the balls on these guys. They're like, hey, look at our bottom line. Look, we're losing money here. Never mind, we're sending all of our money up here to make it appear that this company's making more money. Now we're coming back to charge your citizens 30% more on their premiums. Can you believe this, ladies and gentlemen? Billionaires versus us. Unbelievable. The company bought hundreds of millions of dollars of excess reinsurance from parent State Farm Mutual last decade while getting little back in return, according to the consumer watchdog of Los Angeles. The cojones on these clowns. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Even during the catastrophic 5 years of 2017 and 2018, during which thousands of structures were destroyed by the Thomas Fire in Ventura County, the Camp Fire in Butte County, and others, the company will not, the group alleges. Of course. Why would you do reinsurance? You're the insurance company. This is funny as hell. But the company is overpaying for reinsurance, and consumers shouldn't foot the bill. Well, congratulations, consumers. Billionaires versus us. Here you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Again, there's some things that people who are watching may need to understand, taking people's money. Exactly. Here it is. This is why I keep telling people you can see it happening. Mr. Dividend here can verify. I started talking about this 6 months ago. It's going to be real bad. I see what they're doing out here now. Okay. This is what I was saying. You can see already the foundation for why it's going to cost you more money. You're going to have insurance. They are the mob. Exactly. Once you understand what's going on, again, I had this lesson 30 years ago. All right. 35 years ago, when I created something that the government and the billionaires, I was circumventing them making their money, helping out the ordinary citizens. So then they used all their power with the city, state, county, federal government to block and make new laws on it. So I was telling people back then what I was doing, and everybody's like, what are you talking about? That's nothing wrong with that. I said, oh, yes, there is. The big guys are losing billions of dollars. They're upset. So when we talk about things like this is why it's no surprise that all of a sudden it gets cut off. Every time we talk about yield max ETFs, we get cut off. Yield max ETFs, ladies and gentlemen, go check them out. High risk, high reward. All right. You freeze up, Eric. Yeah, I knew I was going to freeze up on this subject matter. Yes, you did talk about it the 6 months. Yep. So I knew this was going to happen because I was putting on screen things that basically they block. And actually our whole streams and everything is blocked on social medias, everything. Oh, by the way, speaking of social media, hold on. We keep playing. Hey, let me know if you guys missed when we had Matt are people here in America that tell me, Eric, what do Americans get? All these migrants get all this stuff. What do we get? I'm like, what do you mean? What do they get that you can't get? So I'm going to tell everybody, if you need some help, just go to the .gov or .org. You don't have to pay people. Go to findhelp.org. All right, put in your zip code. These companies, these individuals, they actually help you. If it's a .org, it's a nonprofit. And if it's a .gov, it's the federal government. So you can go to findhelp.org. I put it in the chat room. And you will be shocked. Transportation, job training, medical health, mental health, drugs. What I mean is not drugs like in illegal. I'm talking about your drug cost. I am talking about there's 8 or 9 different categories. You just go down the list. Some of it is free help. Some of it does cost, but you just go down the list seeing if you qualify. And some of these are grants. But the one that blew me away was several. I didn't realize on findhelp.org that there was actually help for getting job training at no additional cost for jobs that pay you a much higher price salary. I could not believe a lot of people are having mental health and medical health problems. Some people aren't insured. Can you believe there's mental health situations for you? I just couldn't believe it. You're a caregiver, you need help. They have something. Then he gave me, well, wait a minute. When I said caregiver, he said, well, what about 211.org? I was like, what's 211.org? You go to 211.org and now you have another for mental health, caregivers help. You contact them. But he admittedly said they kind of route you to somebody versus you being able to call all these different people, such as at findhelp.org. I was blown away. I said, are you kidding me right now? Watch that video if you missed it. In fact, forget that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the chat room. I redid, because live streams and regular videos show up differently on YouTube. So this is the original live stream video. It's going to stay up. And I posted the video that on the radio, like if I post a video. There's two different types. They put out the live stream and then they put out the regular ones you post. So either way, I gave you the live stream link, or no, yeah, that's the live stream link in the chat room if you want to check it out. All right. Brian P., thank you so much, man. I watched the show. Thank you. And here it is, findhelp.org. That's where you go, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be shocked. You don't have to pay. There's people out here having you pay them, you know, $1,000, $2,000. And all they're doing is probably going to findhelp.org or 211 or whatever else. There's several opportunities. Some people actually are in a club. He has a club that costs $20 per month. And basically, because he can't, you know, he's like 80 years old. He can't go around and find all these grants anymore. So what happens is people are in the club for $20 a month and they help each other. Hey, I'm looking for a grant for this, or I'm looking for this type of help. So now he's finding out there's other grants that he would have never found, because now he has like little spiders all over the place finding stuff. And then in the group, they're coming together. Is that worth $20 per month? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So let me go see. It's letsgohelp.com. Go over to letsgohelp.com also. I'll put it in the chat room. You know that's part of the SSN Nation. This is why I started the channel, is to help people. A rising tide lifts all boats. That's why we don't charge to help people. I don't have any fees. If somebody needs help, you can hit me up, support@stopstrugglingnow.com. You can join our WhatsApp group. All of that, I don't charge. If we can help you, we help you. We try to send you to people that can help you. We're not trying to charge you, right? I don't think that's right. Especially when you claim that you make money, then why are you charging people when we know as a human being, we want everybody to succeed, or do we? Because there are some human beings that don't want people to succeed. They want to block you from succeeding, like it's their duty, right? Brian P., yield max is real stocks to make money to come up in life. Exactly. Exactly. When somebody can give a distribution of 60%, 40%, 30%, and you can reinvest that, that's a huge difference between 10%, 15%, 30, 40, 50% annual return on your investment. That gets you big time into profit and wealth. But how long will it last is the question, right? So make sure you go to YieldMax ETFs, go study, or just search the channel for stock market, and we talk about it before. Every time we go to YieldMax ETFs, we get flagged. Just like what you saw happening here when I'm with State Farm Insurance. We're talking about the real deal. People don't understand why their prices are going up. They're thinking, they're going, oh, I'm blaming the government. No, it's not them. The government has nothing to do with this. We live in a capitalist system. The grocers can charge you whatever they want. Any store can charge you whatever they want. Insurance can charge you whatever they want. Like I said, I'll give you guys a story. I usually give stories on Friday night, but since we're talking about finance tonight, because you got to get your financial planning and financial freedom game on. Can you believe I'm in the condo timeshare hotel business? And there's a company that used to be called Diamond Resorts. And so one day they decided to have their quarterly meeting with investors. And of course, it's always free to listen to. And if you listen to it, but here's the problem. If you're not an investor, you would not listen to it normally. So if you own a timeshare or do business with Diamond Resorts, You had no reason to be on an investor call unless you invested in their shares, right? Or Apollo, who used to own them too. But anyhow, the CEO during the talk literally is bragging. Oh, yes, this is this timeshare thing. It's like 30 to 35% of all monies we make. And we can always make more money. All we have to do is increase their annual maintenance fees. So if we want to make an extra 10%, we just change their maintenance fees 10% next year. He's bragging. And I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, my maintenance fees is like $1,100. So now it's going to be $1,200? Is that what this fool is saying? So right then and there, after I hear this, I'm like, oh my God, they're no longer friends of mine. They're not friends of mine. I was like, F these guys. This is what he was saying during the investors. We'll just raise it up 10% this year. And oh, in the next 3 years, it'll be an additional 30%. I was like, did he just say 30%? I was like, he literally said this on the call. On, well, their investors meeting, which is being live streamed out. I could not believe my ears. I was like, and sure enough, I don't have nothing to do with Diamond. All of a sudden, a couple years later, my friends call me and say, hey, man, can you believe at one time, I'll give you this point thing. And the points, they go, can you believe the points used to be 11 cents? I said, yeah, I tried to tell you guys what they said 3 years ago. And what do you mean? You're upset. Can you believe it's now 20 some cents per point? I said, yeah. He said 10%. He said 30%. Yeah, that's 40% right there. I don't know what happened after the next year or two, but I told you then. And you're still with them? They're like, yeah, I can't believe it. The guys in Hawaii, I used to own at Kaanapali Beach Club. The week went from $1,100 to $1,800. By the way, you could have stayed there for like $200 and some per night. It's crazy. And then it went to $2,200 or thereabouts. And I was like, see, I tried to tell you guys to get out. You wouldn't listen to me. So this is what happens. And people sit out here and continue to ignore that corporations are not people. They are not looking out for your best interest. They're looking out for their shareholders. They're looking out for their bottom line. And the guys at the top are looking out to make sure they stay in their job. How else can you stay in your job? You have to increase revenues every year. I mean, you don't have to, but that's what they do because most of them are on Wall Street. So you don't want to say, hey, we're flat or whatever, but that's why we have this situation going on right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're trying to get into the chat room, just let you know tonight on Wednesday nights, only members with the icon like Brian P can be in the chat room. Mr. Dividend is here. Hey, Eric, breaking news. Schwab to vastly expand 24-hour trading for investors. Yeah, I saw that. When they say 24 hours, it's I'm skeptical because, well, not skeptical, but what they said was 22 of the 24 hours. So whatever that means, I don't know. Because to me, wouldn't that mean you're open in certain time zones? So yeah, 24 hours. Yes, I heard about that. That means there's going to be more volatility on the stock market. And they basically just opened up the backdoor trading okay, let me explain something. If anybody does not think that this is a thing that's going to happen, let me explain something. If you have 70% of the population living paycheck to paycheck, they don't have disposable income to invest in the stock market. That's why 93% of the stock market is owned by the top 10% of the wealthiest. Can you believe that number, right? So why would they open it up is because now that allows people from everywhere, because most people are working 9 to 5. And in most places, you can trade shares of stock up until like 8 p.m. at night. So now if you open it up 24/7, a person who gets off work and gets home at 6, 7 at night, and then they absorb some of this information like what we're doing right now, they may do trades at 11 p.m. at night or 8 or 10 p.m. at night or 9 p.m. at night. So this opens up the playing field to more people putting money in and making investments. That also opens up, in my opinion, more market manipulation, because now anything that comes out after hours, like Microsoft today, now you can game the system. You can do arbitrage because some people have trades already in. Remember, you can do trades different ways. Some people have calls, they have puts for options tradings. So now you can start triggering some things if the trade is allowed after hours. There's all kind of can of worms that is opening up here. And I'm pretty sure some of you guys who invest in the stock market knows what I'm talking about. So now if you have 24-hour trading, that means now any information that comes out at, depending on where you are, like let's say you're on the West Coast, it's 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, you're driving to work, but some information came out in New York at 9 in the morning. You don't even realize it because you're getting ready for work. You're like, okay. And then on, you're listening to music. You're not really listening to news, financial news, unless you're into it. But you find out hours later about some news that could affect your situation, like owners of SMCI who didn't know that October 26th through October 29th, articles were coming out and that they should go sign up for the BFA class action just in case there is a class action. Get in the notes. So then that way you will get information sent to you if there's a class action lawsuit. And if you bought SMCI, which I bought SMCI. Okay. And then I sold it, luckily. But the fact of the matter is, I barely, it went up and then it started going down. So I sold because it was weird. It was acting real weird. This is when it was like somewhere like 800 to 1,000, somewhere in that price range. And it started acting weird. And then it went up and then it came back down. And I was like, for a company that actually does computers, why is it going up and down? So then it went up and started coming back down. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to mess with this company. I'll just take my little profit and go on about my business. And then here we are 4 to 5 months later, finding out about what's happened. Hey, Eric, breaking news. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Right on. All right. I now have 412 shares of YMAX. Very nice. That means a weekly check. For everybody that doesn't know, that's a YieldMax ETF stock. Go check it out. YMAX and YMAG both pay dividends every Friday. It's probably going to be around 20 cents, I would say. So he gets 412 times 20 cents. What does that mean this week? Let's go see. If they gave out 20 cents a share, I'll say 0.2 times 412, $82.40. How much did the YMAX shares cost? Roughly $4,000. Now, what's going to end up happening is that the shares, if he reinvests it, now he's going to have more shares for the following week. So it's making money while he sleeps, just like Steph Curry, right? That's what you want. You want to make money while you sleep. All right. So keep that in mind very well. Very good. He has thousands of another share, thousands of another. I mean, this man's probably, I'll just say he's getting $3,000 to $5,000 every month from dividends. That's why he's known as Mr. Dividends. He's heavy into YieldMax ETFs, high risk, high rewards. Because can you believe CONY, which is crypto, CONY, can you believe it's almost 100% distribution of profits? Now, I gave you something, CONY, it's Coinbase, but they do option trading on YieldMax ETFs. So keep that in mind. They're making money from the options, puts, and calls. And that's what they're giving. Plus, there's other factors. You got to go study. It's not simply they're buying the share of stock. They are doing distribution. That's all they're doing. So that's why they have a high rate of distribution. So you have to ask yourself, what does the rate of the stock go down based on the high rate of distribution? So the question is, if the stock price is $50 and I buy at 50 and I'm getting 100% return on what I invested, let's just say $1,000, what happens to the stock? Traditionally, the stock will go down. It'll go as they distribute. But will you win if it goes down $25 a share, but yet you still get the 100% distribution? That's the magic number that you need to find out. What if? The answer is, just so you know, is yes, you're still going to win. What you really want is certain things where it stays level. It can stay level and still get 100% of return. That is awesome to think about. $1,000, and at the end of the year, you have $2,000. That is pretty good, right? So there you go. Here it is. He says right now, I'm just trying to get 2,500. Are you saying you're trying to get 2,500 for YMAX? Because I already know you have, you get that monthly from, I can't remember. I think you have, I can't remember. Oh, you have ULTY. You have, I'm trying to think of the YieldMax ETF stocks that you have. NVDY, TSLY. You have some of these that you have thousands of shares. So I know you're not talking about 2,500 for all of them. YMAX, I understand, because I know you're not there yet. MSTY, there we go, MSTY. So he's got thousands of shares. So these things sometimes do $2. How about one time when it did $4 and you have thousands of shares? And what if the stock is like $25, ladies and gentlemen, and you spent, let's just say $1,000 for 25 shares, $25,000 for the share, and you got $4,000. Most people would be happy with a almost 50% return for the year. I'm sorry, 5% return for the year. Never mind just for 1 month. What's it going to be next month? Add on another 2 or 3% or another 5%. That is what we're talking about here. And they're high risk, high reward. So check them out. MSTY is MicroStrategy within the YieldMax ETF family. Go check them out. That's another great one, because that has to do with Bitcoin. And you know, the Bitcoin options income trading is a thing. All right. I'm going to do this because every now and then we have to show you the SSN lifestyle, right? What's the good of making money if you can't go out here and have a little bit of fun? That's the point. Have fun, make money, enjoy life. Life isn't all about work. You got to have life-work balance. But how are you going to get life-work balance when you work 5 days a week? And the 2 days you're off, you have to do all the things you haven't done during the week to take care of your household or maybe your children, right? So that does take time away from you. So here's a few things to think about. Let's go with this one.
Come on, come on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, don't be confused by the camera angles. I know it looks like it was a reporter or that was some news channel. No, ladies and gentlemen, that's yours truly, right in front. No seats, VIP. And like I say, the one with TJ Khaled, I always get a kick out of this because I didn't want to show, this was in Miami. I didn't want to really show who's in the crowd, but right next to me was Tracy McGrady, who's a Very good basketball player. I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame yet or not, but he's one hell of a basketball player. So he was next to me. He had 2 or 3 people with him, and there were some other people too, because we're in the VIP section. So I didn't want to move the camera around. But that is my footage, unfortunately. When I had the other camera, the one I used to use that was all jacked up, what was it, a Note 4 that was 11, 12 years old, not 11, about 8, 9 years old. And I was still using it to prove to everybody, it doesn't matter what camera you have, just get online and do social media. So anyhow, so that's the life that you want. The only way you can do that is you have to have money coming in while you're sleeping. All right, just keep that in mind. So I get some JEPI and some VOO. There you go. You'll be set. You're already set. But yeah, you go with the JEPI is JP Morgan for everybody, and that gets you around 9% return, dividend returns every year. They're around $55, somewhere like that, $52 to $55 a share right now for JEPI. VOO, that's a whole nother ball game. That's in the hundreds per share. But the fact of the matter is, those are the ones that have beat the markets 30-some%. Can you believe that? Year over year, 35, 36, 38, 32. It's in the 30s. VTI in the 30s. VOOG in the 30s. Can you believe that? It was a bull run for the last 2 years. Where were you guys? Were you buying NVIDIA like you were supposed to, NVDA? AMD? Were you in there? All right. Now, what are you going to do now that they've reached all-time record highs? They can't keep going. There has to be some sort of a pullback, right? There has to be some sort of downside. When's the downside going to happen? Well, I have news for you. I think the Federal Reserve is going to reduce the interest rates. Then what's going to happen? That just means more stock buybacks. We already know $300 billion of stock buybacks from the Magnificent Seven. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Facebook, Tesla, and I'm missing one. They have stock buybacks coming. They've already said it. Over the next 3 years, it's $300 billion plus. They're not the only ones doing stock buybacks. So it would make it very plain and simple. Why wouldn't you have YMAG? Why wouldn't you have the Magnificent Seven in your portfolio? I don't understand. Hey, Eric, did you like those cards collection? Yes, I saw you had the Piedmont collection. Wow, that is very interesting. Even with the ratings, that's one of the Piedmont group is like a little gem of a group, not that expensive, but the longer you hold any collectibles, the more they become, the more worth, the higher the worth they become. Because if you get to own something that's like 100 years old, it increases value, right? Just the fact you have it. Like that Honus Wagner card that hardly anybody can have, right? It's not going to pop up anywhere unless grandpa died and left a collection of a rare Honus Wagner card. That's the only way, right? So these are the type of things that you never know what something's going to be worth years later. Like I said, when we were talking about these cards the other day, I was saying I have a 1992, I think, soccer. Of all things, soccer was nothing in America. But one day I was at some place and I got a unopened box of soccer cards. Now, back then, there are no, superstars well-known, like Pele maybe or something. But over time, you never know what's going to happen. I don't think they're worth anything even to this day. But the pack was something like, the whole box was like $3 or something. So I said, what the hell? I'll get them. Even though soccer had nothing to do with in the United States at all. But I said, oh, this is kind of cool. Outside of the United States, this may be worth a lot more. Just saying. All right. So it depends also who your audience is. Right? Think about that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to go and help you guys out today. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you go down below in the description box and get your free shares of stock from Robinhood and Webull if you have not already. And I want to thank everybody for going over to Instagram and going to the Stop Struggling Now Instagram channel, because something for the first time ever has happened. We went past 921, and there's been no removal of followers by Instagram, and we're now up to 924 followers. Can this finally break what they've been doing to the Stop Struggling Now network? Can this be a thing? I don't believe it. After we got up to 919, then they dropped us to 916. Then we got back to 920. Then they dropped us to 919, 918. Then we got back up to 921. Then it dropped back down to 920. And here it is today, up to 924 followers. I want to thank everybody, because I think there was something going on, like, I don't know, the algorithm going on now. They can never have over 920, 921. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, I was thinking about sells those cards. That's what collectibles are for, man. They're for selling sooner or later. What are you holding them for? I mean, that's the way I look at it. Unless it's just, you just want to hold them. Like, I sell gold and silver too. I'm like, what am I holding it for? It's not like as things go up in price, I don't gain anything. See, this is where the problem comes in. Something has to appreciate faster than inflation. So it does me no good to sit here and go, okay, I'm just going to hold something, and inflation goes up over 10 years. Inflation goes up like 50%, right? And so, because we always have just so everybody understands, 7 to 8 years, there's usually a recession. So over that 10-year period, you're going to have inflation numbers that's going to be around 5 to 6% overall, because of the recession that occurs, and the inflation pops to 17%, like when we had the pandemic. So anyhow, so it does me no good, because in 5 to 10 years, I have to make 50% more. So if a card goes up, I bought a card, let's say it's $50. If the card goes up to $75, okay, great. But if inflation went up 50% over that time, that is $75. I didn't gain anything. See, that's where the problem comes in when you start thinking about as an investment strategy. If it's just fun and games, like my soccer box, then it doesn't really matter, because you got it so cheap that it's not even relative. But if you're actually out here trying to buy and sell things, such as watches, such as collectibles, artwork, and the real artwork by known entities, value is higher. Artwork has the highest appreciation of any asset class over the last 10 years, by the way, in case people think art is bogus. I've had an artist on before talking about buying art. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we cover it, because we want you to know that it's just not about buying stocks. It's not just about buying a home. There's other things of assets that you can buy. Now, art doesn't make you money, right? Collectibles don't make you money unless you sell. So it's not classified in the SSN Nation asset class, because assets here means you're getting money back. But if you say, hey, I like this picture, and you go buy it and put it on your wall, and it looks nice and it has some value, you were going to buy the picture anyhow, right? A nice picture anyhow, right? So think about it that in that way. That's how I think about it. So if you see some of my old videos, like the first ones from 5 years ago, you'll see in the house that I lived in at the time, you'll see artwork around all over the place, quite frankly. And some of those things are valuable. And some people just look at it and be like, oh, nice picture. And I'm like, I just laugh, because yeah, it's a nice picture. But the real deal is it's a rare picture. It's like, these are like 1 out of 20. I mean, this is like cool stuff, right? And so now, run back 6, 7 years back, the value of those pictures that are on my walls are worth more money. because they're actually paintings, they're actually artwork, there's actually cabinets. I have stuff that is different, but people don't understand who the maker is. So here's the thing. There's a makers of everything. So furniture maker, cabinet maker, all these things, chair makers, all these things don't mean anything to the ordinary citizens. But to some people who go looking for classic furniture, they look at the label and like, the maker is this person? Do you know how much this is worth? See, that's why it's very interesting when you're out here buying assets. There's assets in different forms. This is a subject matter I should probably talk about because I've never talked about this before. I was thinking about sales of those cards. Yeah, hey man, I sell cards every now and then. I sell everything because again, the value is only based on what the value is. If you bought something for $150 and it's worth like $1,500, I'm like, that's a good enough. I mean, why am I holding on to this longer? I'm getting older. I don't really need it. I don't need to pass it on unless I ask the kids, do you guys want this? And they're looking at me like, why would I want a basketball card again? Why would I want a football card again? I'm like, they don't have any, because it happened 50 years or 70 years ago. So they don't have any reference. They're like, I don't know who this person is. It doesn't mean anything to me. And then you say, well, it's worth $5,000. What? And so again, it means nothing to them. So I'm just like, okay, I'll just sell it. You see, so that's how it goes. But when you start thinking in a different way, so when you're out here and you say, you know what, I'm going to go over here and buy whatever, like you're going to go buy a dining room set, right? Some people will go to the furniture place and they'll say, well, you can have this furniture set for $1,000. Another furniture set could be $2,000. Another one could be $3,000. You have to ask yourself, if you're willing to spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for a dining room set, why don't you go find a dining room set that is actually a collectible designed by somebody that you can get at an estate sale, an auction, right? That would cost you maybe the same or less. So now when you get ready to downsize, buy something or get rid of it, it actually has a value. It's not just any old regular old cheap ass dining room set, right? I should talk about this more often. If the old videos, I don't think I ever walked. Oh yeah, I went in the kitchen a few times. You'll see stuff like the dining room table. Now, it came over on the Queen Mary. That's the dining room table that you'll see in our house. You heard me, the Queen Mary, 100 years ago. Exactly. When woodworking was totally different than this plastic garbage stuff type of, I don't even know what they're making stuff out of these days. It's actual wood, real wood, carved by hand. All right. People sit at the table every day. Don't think nothing about it. But if we sell it, it has a value well beyond a few $1,000s. All right. Just so you guys understand. Upstairs in my loft, there's things in the loft that are one of 10, specially made. There'll be things like a bar, like an old bar type cabinet. It's resined, but there's only like 10 people in the world that has it. People don't know that. So when they come to the house, they go, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? I can't tell them where to get it. You couldn't buy it. So all these things people don't realize, but you know what you have, but everybody else is just furniture and you don't care. It's furniture. It's cool. But if you wanted to sell that stuff, you can always get more money than you bought it for. So are you really broke? This is why rich people have certain qualities of what they buy. This is the old thing that people, not, I call it old, but It's the thing with watches that you hear about. Oh, I bought this Rolex and then I resold it a few years later. You know, it's cool, right? Okay, fine. But it's along that same type thing. But if it's your furniture, that's what makes it so much cooler, right? So much cooler. So in another video, if you see the house, there's some newspaper couches. Everybody that walks in my house wants to buy those. I say, I'm sorry, I can't give those. I can't. Those are never for sale, right? They're not really newspapers. It's the fabric, but they're one of a kind. You can't just find these things anywhere. And there's I can't remember the official name. So anyhow, just letting you, I did not pay that much for them. I figured that. Because I know the Piedmont class. That's why. And then I noticed the Piedmont, you had a 1, but it had the markings on it. The ratings of 1. So I figured I could tell, but it's a Piedmont. Piedmont's not the top of the line stuff. But the fact of the matter is, what's the value for how long you've owned it? That's the question. And if you got a good price or not. Because on these things, here's the thing about cards. Now that they're rated and everything, they fall in a category. So you can generally go online. A dealer or anybody's not going to buy it from you for more than what the book says. And then they got to take some off in order for them to make a profit. So it's not like you're going to get somebody to overpay for something. It's not worth it to them because there's a value. Just like what happened in the watch category recently over the last year and a half. People used to be buying these Rolex watches and Panerais, and it doesn't matter, a whole bunch of different kind. You could buy it for $25,000 today and then find somebody 6 months from now to pay you 30. Well, them days are over, because as more people are living paycheck to paycheck, this watch flipping, this arbitrage is the same problem that Airbnb is having or is going to have. It's the same thing. So many people entered into the arbitrage of Airbnb that the cost to maintain the property now has caught up with how much they can charge on Airbnb. So that is a problem. And that is one of those things we've been talking about with our pre-construction properties, because if you got in early in 2019, 2018, 2020, 2021, you have an advantage because your price point is so low that everybody else has to buy the same size and the same type of property for maybe 100% more. See, that's what's going on now, 100% more. So therefore, my rental rate is, I can be less than the person that bought theirs for 100% more than me, twice as much as I bought mine. So I'll give an example, $125,000 for a penthouse panorama garden, 135 after the 10%. But now to get a inside Vistacana, to get a penthouse is 250 and up. So now when we break out the Airbnb, I don't own there anymore, but when we break out the Airbnb, I would be able to charge $140, $150 a night and be good. The person that bought theirs at $250 and up, if they charge $135, that means their return is probably going to be like under 5%. But if they have to charge $250 just to be in double digits for a return. So now I'm going to be out here charging $150. They'll be out here like, damn, I can't charge. I got to charge $190, $199. That's great for me. The competition will be weeded out shortly in less than 1 year, because when they find out that the occupancy rate is only 40%, and they find out they're only going to be renting around 120 days. Out of 120 days, they're only going to be getting like $24,000. And basically their management fee, their HOA fees, and if they have a mortgage, that's going to be down to less than 10 G's for an annual, so something they bought for $250 to $275. That is going to be a problem, because again, what you are going to do is you're going to divide 10,000 divided by your 250,000. And you're not going to be happy when you see 4%. You're going to be like, wait a minute, I went through all this so I can get 4% annually? Are you serious right now? I could have just left all this money that I paid for that in a dividend fund with ORC, PSEC, AGNC, and gotten 12% to 15% annually while I'm sleeping and dividends every month? Are you serious right now? Why did I go through all this and now I got to sell this thing if somebody wants to buy it? I hope. But the person that bought at the 135, they don't mind if it's 10,000, 11,000, because they're going to be closer to 9 to 10% on their money. You see my point? So then it's justifiable. I'm getting 9, 10% on my money. We're good. Somewhere in that ballpark, right? So things change. All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you please smash the like buttons. If you can't get in the chat room tonight, there's a reason. It's because only members with the icon can be in the chat room on Wednesday nights. Come join us on Friday night at 9, 10 p.m. And everybody can be in the chat room. All right, let me see. Did I forget something? I did forget something. I was going to go do something here, but no, I think I am done. I think I'm going to be done. All right. We're not going to be on here much longer. I gave out some stock symbols, your financial planning for 2025 and beyond. This means you're going to need something to do with real estate. Figure it out. Whether you're going to buy real estate, it's going to be hazardous to your health because you cannot buy real estate just anywhere. If you're going to be in an old fire zone, a flood zone, a hurricane zone, a tornado zone, you're almost going to rest assured that you're not going to be insurable. If you're going to buy a house, you have to check with the insurance company before you buy it to make sure you're going to be insured. There are places here in Atlanta, Georgia, that the homes are 50 years old, and in a certain zip code, the insurance companies are saying we will not insure you because of the age of the home. There's no way that a home that's worth $250,000, if there has to be some sort of repair, it might cost $100 and some thousand just for the repair. So this is why they don't want to take this on, because what are they going to charge you? Are they going to charge you $7,000 per month? And even after a year, that's $90,000 to make sure that they get recoupable money where there's trees everywhere in the Atlanta, Georgia area. In fact, northern Georgia is surrounded by trees everywhere. The odds of a home getting hit by trees is high. And so then the tree guys, the tree removal guys, take advantage. $3,000 to $5,000 to remove a tree, which is absurd. I never heard. I was like, what are you saying right now? I was like in shock. I was like, where's the damn chainsaw at? This is crazy. My God. Again, California kid. Like I said, I love Cali. And I don't like staying up in the mountains in Cali either. That's why I stay generally around cities. So everything's clear. I generally don't have to worry about fires. Don't have to worry about nothing. Just live your life. Pretty good weather. Roll. This stuff they do over here in the Southeast is just mind-boggling. Rivers overflow. Cities and towns wiped out. I'm just like, this is insane. You guys know you have storms every year. I'm just like, this is blowing me away. Then you find out you can't get insured because there's storms every year. I'm like, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I don't get it. But ladies and gentlemen, you better come to realization you're going to have to buy assets to pay you because you don't know how much it's going to cost you. You can own a home. You can have a car. You don't know how much registration is going to cost you. You don't know how much insurance is going to cost you for your vehicle, nor your home. You don't know how much anything's going to cost in the future. I say in 2 to 3 years, everything's going to be double. Why do I say that? It has nothing to do with inflation. It has to do with you. When they reduce the interest rate down, now what are people going to do when interest rates get down to 2.9, 3.3, 4%? People are going to be out buying homes. When a demand of homes or demand of people buying homes increases, what's going to happen? Prices are going to go up. And because the interest rate's lower, people will outbid people because they can buy more of a home at a lower price, lower interest rate. So therefore, home prices are going to go up, which also means insurance prices are going to go up. You can see how this is a self-fulfilling prophecy of bad news. That's what's going to happen. All right. So you're going to take advantage by having the stocks to go with it. So when the stock price goes up, you're going to be able to benefit. Dividends, so you'll benefit. Are you going to buy into a business that's already existing where there's dividends? Not dividends, but profit coming in. That's another act like a shark, Shark Tank. Notice they always go, how much money are you making? Because they rarely want to buy into a company if it's making no money. That doesn't even make any sense. Why are you going to invest in a company that goes, oh yeah, we've never made no money before? You wouldn't do that, right? So just keep that in your head when you're out here, and maybe you want to go the collectibles route. Nothing wrong with that. Artwork route. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe collectible car route, but be very careful with them as well, because those have stagnated. All right. I have collectible cars as well, but the prices went up. Like I have a car that I bought for, you guys will die. I think it was $400. It was a BMW 634. Sorry, 633. Because it's an 84 633 CSI. $400. After I get the paint done with it, this thing could be 15 grand to 20 grand. Crazy, right? Crazy. That's the type of things that people always said, oh, man, I have collectibles, so to speak. People didn't look at it as a collectible at the time. It's just that, like, my daughters used to come up and say, why you own these old cars? And I would just laugh. They go, I don't like driving around in your old car because all of my friends' parents have these new cars. I said, that's nice. So my daughters, imagine them being 7, 9, 10, and then they get to 13, 14, 16. And can you believe now what happens when their boyfriend comes to the house, or a guy that they like to come over, got to talk to dad? Their boy goes, that car is cool. Who owns this? This is awesome. Then my daughters are coming in like, I don't believe this. These boys, they love your car. I thought this was just always garbage. We didn't even want to drive in it. I said, well, see, one man's treasure is another man's garbage. And just then they realized all my cars were like classic cars. But because nobody ever said anything, because they were little girls and didn't have any men, their boyfriends weren't around. They didn't have boyfriends or nothing. But when they got of age of having boyfriends, their boyfriends would, before they come in the house, they're out there, let me see this car. This is cool. I don't believe it. So that's how funny it is. It's always funny. Everything has a value. And that's why if you go the other route going, hey, you know what? Let me buy assets all the time. Let me buy something of value all the time, regardless of what somebody says. Somebody doesn't like my pictures. I don't really care. Somebody doesn't like my furniture. I don't really care. The point of the matter is I like it. And it's worth more than what you think. But you can sit down and have a nice time. All the stuff is cool stuff, right? But nobody knows it because nobody's really into looking at things of the value such as that. So when you start changing your mindset and go, hey, you know what? Instead of me just going down to the furniture store and buying something here, why don't I go down and go to the consignment store? I mentioned this before. Why don't I go down there and see if I can find something that's actually built real well, has a nice value, and I don't have to pay $3,000 for a dining room set, but I'm going to pay $1,000 for a dining room set that actually is 50 years old, nobody's seen, and it's cool as hell, as long as it's cool as hell to you, right? It's cool as hell. Now I'm going to take that home, right? So my bar, I'll give you guys another story about buying things. My bar has I have a bar, so I have bar stools. So nobody thinks anything of it until when I have a party one day. We have the Shriners party, and some people come over there and they start looking at my bar stools, and they're just like, these are made of wood, and they swivel, and they have this interesting fabric on them. And then they start realizing after he starts looking around, he sees some markings on there. He's like, man, these are worth a lot of money. He said, these look brand new. I said, I know. Exactly. He's like, and you have 4 of them. I said, I know. He's like, these are rare. I said, I know. I'm like, he's in shock. He's just like, once he realizes what they are, he's like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And I'm like, yeah, man, I liked them too. So I got them. He's like, where'd you get these? I started to give him the story. I was at the consignment store. He's like, at the consignment store? I'm like, yeah, I went to the consignment store, and there they were, all 4 of them. And I was only going to get 2. Then when they told me it's like $50 a piece, I was like, well, because I was thinking they were going to be like 500, 400 a piece. He's like, I said $50 a piece. So I was like, I'll take all 4. That's how we got them. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. And oh, by the way, at the consignment store, if they're one of those high end, I don't want to say high end, because it's not such a thing, right? But it's kind of like if they get things like from out of wealthy estates. So you find out is if you do wealthy estate type stuff. So they get them out of the wealthy estates, and they come down and they give them some money, but it may be due to duress. It may be because, family members don't know, right? And you'll find some stuff that you would not believe that looks cool, like it was just made for today's era. And you'll realize, you'll be like looking online, and you'll be like, wait a minute, this stuff is worth way more than what they're selling it for. Right? So just keep that in mind when you're out there buying things and wasting your money on stuff that goes, in and out of style, or wasting your money on things that they're charging an arm and a leg for now. Like I said, I went out looking for the dining room tables with a friend of ours. I can't remember where we were, but when we went there, I saw dining room sets for $3,000. And I was sitting there like, is this for real right now? This isn't even real. What I mean is real wood. I was like, this is like some fabricated thing that looks kind of cool. But what about these legs? They're not even really, it was not even built like properly, but they wanted $3,000. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, do not do this. Just go to a consignment store and get some stuff that was real, that was handmade, and they're cool. You'll see, just go look. And so that's the thing that everybody has to understand going forward. You don't have to go out here and buy and be with the Joneses. All right. That's the millionaire tip of the day, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We're going to wrap this up. Enough with the stories, because I'm supposed to do those on Friday nights. So just keep in mind, make sure you stay safe out here. I thank everybody for being here. And I love you guys very much over all these years. And I appreciate you being here. Share the videos. Let other people know to come over to Stop Struggling Now. Make sure you go to the Instagram channel. Keep adding some more. We're Stop Struggling Now on Instagram. We got up to 924 now. So I'll have to keep track. We'll see what happens over the next few days, if they're going to take away 4 or 5 or whatever, because they normally drop us back down to 914, 915. This is something different. I've never seen this in 5 years. It's incredible. So it's very helpful that you guys are doing this. And with all that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here, but just keep in mind, it's going to get harder financially. But with Mr. Lesko's help, make sure you go to findhelp.org. All right, I put in the chat room several times, findhelp.org. And that, they have grants there. They have job training, which blew me away. I mean, they had certification applications that people could get a nice paying job with, and it could be free to do the job training. They have grants, they have free training, and sometimes there's cost, but that's why you have to call everybody on the list to see if you qualify for what they're doing and see if that works for you. Medical care, mental health care. I mean, it's unbelievable. That's just one. But again, check out the video and you can see some more. We actually do a live where I actually do a call and somebody answers the phone and it's like 10 at night at one of these mental health facilities. It wasn't a facility. It was a mental health organization. They answer the phone and you hear the lady, do you need help right now? I'll send somebody over if somebody's trying to hurt themselves or anything like that. It was incredible. 10 at night. I couldn't believe it. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of things that's going on out here, and a lot of people need help. And there is actually help from the federal government, states, legitimate help, not from somebody who's going to say, I have to charge you an arm and a leg. This could actually help a lot of people. So go check out that Let's Go video. It's on the live channel, on the live stream. And I dropped it. I did a shortened version and I dropped that on the main channel as well here on YouTube. So it's on the live side and it's also on a video that you can just drop normally every day. So check them out. It's the same video. It's a replay, but you'll be happy you did it. Your family, because people, American citizens, don't even know this is available. I didn't. I've never heard of it. And I've been helping out nonprofits for 30, 40 years. Nobody ever said, hey, if you ever need some help, go to findhelp.org or go to 988. I didn't even know about 988. I was like, what? You can call 988? He goes, yeah, call 988 right now. I was like, what? This is crazy. Crazy. So again, that's helping a lot of people that doesn't even know there's actual help. You're a caregiver. There's help. Unbelievable. I could not believe what I was hearing. And it's beyond that. Just go look. Findhelp.org gets to your zip code and you'll find out what services are available to you in that zip code. It's unbelievable. Drugs, meaning if you need don't have money for drugs, they have organizations that can help you secure drugs at sometimes no cost or a small, very, very small cost. I mean, this is unbelievable help. I wish I would have known about this like 30 years ago. This is like a pamphlet that people should have with them going, hey, if you ever need anything, the federal government has funds and the state from the federal government has funds to help. And they send them to the nonprofits. And this is why they are doing it for no cost or low cost. And if somebody says they charge, go to the next one. Maybe the next one doesn't charge. That's what he was saying. I said, my God, it's not like there's one or two things. It's usually 4, 5, 6 or more. So you have a chance. So if you need some help in some capacity, just go check out findhelp.org and make sure you check out the video with Matthew Lesko. Don't miss that. It's very powerful. All right. And if you want to go to lescohelp.com, Lesko Help, Lesko help.com, you can go see what he has to say there. But you can join his club for $20 per month. So now you can find out about a whole organization of other people constantly searching for grants and helping people. And that's what their club cost. So that's a whole nother ball game that can, help you out as well. $240 a year. That's worth help if you need help, right? So hopefully that helps you guys out. Make sure you stay safe out here because the world is a ghetto. Make sure you understand there's a lot of people under stress, duress. So you never know what is going on in someone's mind when you see them. And with all that said, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.